Hey everybody, Mark from Rams up here, and I am starting a new thing. I've been trying to do this for quite a while, interviewing Ram fans from across the country, and in this case, across North America. I have with me today Ernesto Salgado. How are you doing,
Hi,
Ernesto?
hi, Mark. How are you?
And tell everybody where you're from, where are you right now?
Okay, I'm a gastrointestinal surgeon that lives in Puebla, Mexico. Puebla, Mexico, it's a city it's 120 kilometers away from Mexico City. We are in the center of the country, and it's the fourth biggest city in Mexico.
So is it part of the municipality or is it separate from it's separate from Mexico City then?
It's a separate thing. It's we are in another state.
Oh, okay. I did pull it up on a map and I couldn't quite tell. It drew a giant circle around Mexico City with Puebla kind of off to the right, maybe south, and let me think, southeast of the city center.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
it.
okay. And where did you grow up? Have you been in Puebla your whole life or?
Yes, yes. I grew up here. I did some of my professional studies. As I said, I'm a surgeon, so I did my medical career mostly in Mexico City, and then I did some stuff in the United States. I went to do robotic surgery in Houston, Texas, and a lot of fellowships in nearby. Pittsburgh and other parts of the United States.
Have you ever been to California?
Yes, yes, I've been to California for a Congress and for a Rams for two-time Rams game.
Oh,
And
awesome. Was that back in the Coliseum days or at SoFi?
okay, let me tell you a story. I had tickets for the game that was supposed to be played in Mexico City for the Rams Chiefs game. I had tickets for that. But Shakira, she made a great concert there, and the Stadium Azteca, the Azteca Stadium, was ruined. The turf was ruined for the concert, so they canceled that game. That really hurt. So I bought tickets to see that game, to go see that game at the Coliseum. That's my only game there that I
And
went to
that's
see,
the
and it's
greatest game ever played,
yep, yep.
right? 55 to 51, I think it was.
54 to 51,
54 to, I was
51.
close. That's funny because I have a friend of mine whose son just started playing flag football and he's a Charger fan. So
Okay.
just to poke him a little bit, I sent him, they lost their championship game yesterday, and I sent him a link to the Rams Chiefs game. And I said, hey, this will get him pumped up again. Just watch the greatest game ever played. And
Yes,
that was a doozy. You were at that game, huh?
I was at that game. Yep.
Oh, wow. I'm jealous now. And what was the other game you went to? I left out Anaheim. They were in Anaheim for a while. So was it the Coliseum as well? Anaheim, St. Louis? Where was the other game?
Okay. My first game, Rams game, was at the St. Louis at the Edward James Dome.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I went around 28, 2008 to see a Rams game. I was Sam Bradford, the quarterback, and I got to see the good times of Steven Jackson.
Oh,
They
Stephen.
lost that game to the Redskins, and then I stopped seeing some Rams game until I had the opportunity to go to the Coliseum, and then I had so much fun, so I decided to go to a Rams game once a year, once a year. So the season that the Rams won Super Bowl, I went to Houston. I was at Houston there, and I went to see the game against the Texans. That was Robert Woods' last game.
Oh, yeah.
In, the next week he got hurt. So he got an ACL
All
injury.
right.
So I was at that game also, And that was the year they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the year after that, I wanted to take to my family to the SoFi Stadium. So we went to see for around Halloween. Yes, it was the Halloween weekend. So we went to see against the Niners. That was Christian McCaffrey's first game as a Niner, and I was at that game also.
Y- That's really impressive. And when you were talking about going to St. Louis, I was waiting for you to say the Panthers game. And my son and I flew out for the Rams Panthers game. I don't know if it was that year. It was the game that they retired Isaac Bruce's jersey. So it might have been the same year. I have to look that up. Man, you've done a good job getting to games. Now, how did you become a Rams fan in the first place?
Okay, 1979. A lot of years ago, I was just a little 10-year-old, and I saw the game. I saw the game. They lost to the Steelers the Super Bowl.
Right,
So
right.
they lost to the Steelers, and that's why I got enamored with the Rams. And ever since, I've been a Rams fan since then. Since then, I was a big Vince Ferragamo fan.
Right. Yeah, that 1970s version of the Rams was, a lot of people don't realize how good and how consistent
Yes,
they were. They just
yes.
couldn't get over the hump until that year they finally got to the Super Bowl, and man, they should have won that game. They had it.
In the third quarter, they were winning. They were
Yeah,
winning.
right. I have to ask you. So well, before I get to my one of my questions, you had to live through those dark days, but then the greatest show on turf. That must have been really exciting.
Okay, it was, but I was a surgical resident there, so I didn't have too much time to
Oh,
see the
yeah.
football game. In training as a
Priorities,
surgeon.
Ernesto. Priorities.
So I watched the Super Bowl. I watched them win that Mike Jones tackle
Right,
in with 6 seconds to go, and that
right,
was awesome. That was a great time for me. I really enjoyed that. And then the dark times of the demise of the greatest show on turf was
right.
really painful to watch.
Yeah, and that's why one of the reasons I talk about this way too much, but Steven Jackson will always be, he might be my favorite Ram of all time
I have his
because of,
jersey.
yeah, he's incredible, and he's an incredible person too. And what he how he performed under those circumstances is incredible, and he doesn't get the credit for it. They always want to elevate the guys that are on very good teams, perform well, and win playoff games and get to the Super Bowl. And then there's guys like Steven Jackson that just did all the work, the same amount of work, the same type of production, just an incredible running back. And everybody just got, and some people don't even know who he is. When he got traded to or signed to with the Falcons, however he ended up with the Falcons, I was talking to a Falcon fan, and he barely even knew that who this number 39 was. Crazy.
The definition of a workhorse.
Yeah, right.
The Rams in that decade, they had only two players. It was Steven Jackson and Mark Bolger.
Yeah. Bolger was good, and he didn't have a lot to work with there. And finally, they finally clawed their way back. Well, really not until Sean McVay came around, but good times again if you're a Rams. So this is a really exciting time. We're already starting to get spoiled. We have one down year and a year where we lose in the wild card round, and we're just not satisfied. But that's good. I remember sitting watching back in the days, the Jeff Fisher days, where if we converted a 3rd and 9, we were jumping out of our shoes because it just didn't happen very often. And now with this Sean McVay offense and what they've got going now, it's just good times in LA.
The year where Steve Spagnuolo was our coach, We won only one game.
I know.
That was
I know.
dreadful season.
Yeah. And who was the, I can't even remember his name, Scott, he's
Linehan.
still, yeah, Linehan. And I was excited when they hired him because I wanted them to go offense minded. But, hey, some guys, stick to coordinating. And that's what Spagnuolo's done. He's a great coordinator with the Chiefs. Linehan's bounced around, got it done as an offensive coordinator. So, yeah, just head coaching is a different deal, though. I wanted to ask you, it comes up occasionally, and it might be relevant to you, or maybe not, but you got to be a little bit of a Tom Fears fan. Are you familiar? Do you remember Tom Fears? I don't
Yes,
remember, but
yes.
you know of him, right? He was the first Mexican-born player ever drafted in the NFL by the Rams out of UCLA, of all places. I happen to know this because I've been doing some research for a pod I'm doing on the greatest Rams ever and such. And he's got to be included, of course.
Okay, I also remember a kicker, Frank Corral,
Oh, right, he was out of UCLA too.
a kicker and Mexican.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, there's been a few. So, was he born in Mexico or was he
I don't remember. I don't
Hispanic and
remember.
Latino?
Yes,
Okay.
Latino. Yes.
Yeah. 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 I know Fears was the first Mexican born. I don't know if there's been more since then. It probably has. Probably had. Could be Corral. I'll have to look that up. Yeah,
Well,
it's good stuff.
not in the Rams, but not in the Rams, but at that time where our kicker was Frank Corral. In the Cowboys, there was Rafael
Oh,
Setien.
right. Right. Yeah. There have been a few kickers from Mexico. That's for sure. I'll have to do some research on that too. The names of them are escaping me, but I know there have been a few.
Raúl Alegre.
Oh, there's one. Okay. You got the list
He
ready
won.
for
He won.
me.
Yeah, he won a Super Bowl with the Giants, and now he's a commentator here in ESPN for Latin America. He's a commentator for ESPN here in we watch the games he's
Oh,
commentating on.
that's what
Raúl Alegre.
that was going to be one of my questions as well. I asked you about Tom Fears. I asked you where you live and how you became a Rams fan. How difficult is it to watch Ram games down there?
How difficult? Uh,
Or how
before the
expensive is it, I should say?
well, it wasn't expensive. Before the Sunday ticket, it was hard to see them because they went through years where they were not in prime time. So to see one game of them was very hard. Here in Mexico, the fan base, the predominant fan base here are the Steelers.
Oh,
The
really?
Steelers,
I
yeah,
never would have guessed the Steelers.
no, they are the Steelers, and
I would have guessed
they're
the 49ers or Raiders.
no. Here in Mexico, the Steelers and the Cowboys are head to head.
Oh, okay.
They are the mostly predominant fan base here in Mexico. There are some uh, Patriots fan, and there are Packers fans, and then the 49ers fans are also. And we are the Rams fan. We are not that big. We have here a club here in Mexico and in Latin America. In Latin America, we have a club that it's in Facebook club that it's in that name is Carneros Latinos. Carnero means ram. Carneros
Oh,
Latinos. And here in Mexico, we have a fan base loyal to the soil.
oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I guess it makes sense, Steelers, Cowboys, and Patriots, because they just latch on. All three of those franchises have had really nice runs, so it's understandable. Um, what's the name of that club again? Carnera? How do you say that?
Carneros Latinos.
Okay, I'll have to look
Carneros
that up.
Latinos.
So yeah, I guess claim ignorance on my part. I have no idea. I mean, Sunday tickets available to you just like it is to us. And do they have Are some of the games transcribed, or do they have Spanish speaking announcers on every one of the games?
Both of them. You
Yeah.
can watch it. You can watch the games whenever you like in the
No, when I
language
say
that you like.
transcribed, I mean do they have Spanish speaking announcers for every game? Oh, they do. Okay, didn't know that either.
Yeah, the NFL it's growing here. Well, it grew from the 70s, and there is a big fan base. Outside the United States, I think Mexico it's the biggest fan base of all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, such close proximity to, some of the teams, the Saints, the Cowboys, the Texans, Chargers, Rams, all not really that far away. Um, so do you have plans to come to a game this year yet, or you waiting for the schedule, obviously, but
Waiting next week. Waiting for
right,
next
the
week.
15th, yeah. And then you're gonna what do you do? Just do you pick a game based on the opponent or the time of year, or just what's convenient, or is there a team you want to see? I'd avoid those 49er games.
Yeah, I do. They always oh man, that 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 game is suffering. That game,
Yeah.
I'm suffering. I do not enjoy that game.
Yeah, the thing with a lot of people don't understand, a lot of commentators and people that like to bang on a keyboard a lot. There are a lot of 49er fans that live in LA um, because of the void, number one, that the Rams created by moving to St. Louis, and because of the success the 49ers have had. I mean, you're going to run it, you can run across a lot of Dodger fans that are also 49er fans. And so hopefully the Rams' success will change that. It's not so much as, I mean, there's a contingent of 49er fans that come down just because they can, but there are just a lot of 49er fans in the LA area. And it's just something the Rams are going to have to slowly change, especially with the younger generations. And I think it's starting to happen because these Ram teams are so likable.
Yes, and they have to be successful
Right,
for that. Little kids they always like the winners,
right.
so that's the recipe for rejuvenating our fan base.
Yeah, and I think we have everything in place to potentially do that. And this will be the year. I'm hoping this will be the year that we split or maybe even sweep the 49ers. We could only hope, right? And we have the people. How do you feel about the Rams team right now?
I think they improved, even though they lost AD. Um, they improved. Yeah, our defense is better. The offense, I think, it got a little better, but from last year, but it improved from the defense. It's it's way better. One thing I know what I think that they are going to run the ball. They are
Right,
going to run the ball. They upgrade the offensive line, and they got this Cody Parkinson
right. Colby
guy.
Parkinson, the tight end,
Yep,
he's a beast in the run game.
yep. They are going to run. That's
And then
it's going to
they
be different this year.
and then they drafted a running back much earlier than I thought they would. And I don't know if it was Les Snead or someone was saying that um, maybe it was Kyron Williams. Someone was saying, I just read it the other day. I can't remember who wrote it. That a 17 game season, potentially an 18 game season down the road, they need two of them. They need two of those guys. And Blake Corum looks like, as my son said, you're watching Kyron Williams film. You're watching Blake Corum film. You squint a little bit and you think you're watching Kyron Williams. They're so similar, and I'm really excited. And that, like you referenced, the offensive line. These guys are gonna like punish people. They're that type of offensive line.
They're bigger and they are maulers.
You know. And the defense, it's really funny because Aaron Donald, I was crushed when I heard that, and I slowly came to grips with it. But I look at this defense right now, and we obviously are worse in one very big way, but just about everywhere else, I think we're better.
Yes, special teams and defense, they're better. They were
Yeah.
way better.
Yeah. Cameron Curl and now the rookie Cam Kinchins um, potentially are starting safeties. And
Yes.
then we bring in Trey White and Darius Williams, and we still have two guys that played a lot last year, Durant and Kendrick, and then the edge rusher Verse and Braden Fisk. Those two guys really impressed. I mean, they got to do all these guys got to do it on the field, but
Yeah, and let's hope
got
the rookies from last year, the Kobe Turner and
right.
Puka, they don't have sophomore slumps, and they can perform at minimum as good as they did last year.
Yeah. I'm really hopeful. And I think they've another thing that we probably need to talk about more on the pod is and in the roundtable is the coaching hires they've added. They have a very young staff, but they've sprinkled in some really experienced coaches at different position groups that are really going to help, I think. So I feel good about that. Chris Shula has a wise man in his ear. The special teams coach, I don't have the names in front of me. They brought in a guy to help him as well, and obviously our special teams needs all the help they can get. I think the kicker from Stanford is going to be a big addition as well. How did you feel about us drafting a kicker? Kind of like a split opinion. I think a lot of people were opposed to drafting a kicker until we do.
Okay, drafting a kicker, it has been something that has not been well received by many fans. But last time the Rams drafted one of the best kickers that have ever had been by the Rams, it was drafted by them. It was Greg the Leg.
Right.
He was drafted.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a situation where you have at that point they have 10 draft picks. They had given up one, and you're in the 6th round, and you can hope this guy's going to come in as an undrafted free agent, but just lock him up in the 6th or 7th round, and he might have been there in the 7th. Well, who knows? But I was happy that early on in our mock drafts I was leaning towards Cardi, and then the consensus seemed to be no, don't draft a kicker, and then when he did, everybody's pretty happy with that pick, though, I think.
Yes, last year we lost the Steeler game because of the kicker. That game should have been won.
Yeah, and there was a lot of situations, if you go back and look at it, where I think the play calling was affected by the fact we didn't have a kicker. And so when that really hamstrings a coach, he's got to be thinking, oh man, if I had Greg the Leg, this is what I do, but I don't. Or even
Yes.
Matt Gay. Matt Gay was pretty solid too.
Yes.
Okay. Anything you wanted to talk about? Anything else you wanted to share with us that I might have missed from you Ram fans down there in Mexico?
Well, depends on the schedule. We were hoping for more primetime games, and we want to see the Rams more run the ball. To run the ball, it can be a strategy that can change the nature of the game, because they are so pass happy. They make them so predictable.
Yeah, you sound like you're echoing, Paul and Ian. I don't know if you've heard them on the roundtable. They
Yes.
feel the same way strongly. And I think sometimes McVay just can't resist himself. He just cannot. And I think the other thing it'll do is it'll preserve Matthew Stafford. The less, the lowers the probability of him getting smacked around. And if we reduce his dropbacks by 7 or 8 a game, that's good for his health.
Every time I see an empty backfield set formation, it gives me the creeps.
Yeah, I've never really been a big fan of that either, because it more. I mean, you can still run screens and stuff, but I think it requires the defensive line especially to focus a little bit more on getting to the quarterback, obviously. But yeah, I never really got that either. But I'm not really as an X and O guy as much as Ian and Paul are. I lean on them a lot. I'll have to ask them that question. I don't know if we've ever discussed that explicitly, how they feel about an empty backfield. We probably have at some point. Well, good stuff, Ernesto. Man, I'm going to start. I've been trying to get more people to jump on. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I have 5 or 6 people I collaborate with on a regular basis. Now I have you from Mexico. I don't know if you know Peo Time. I've had him on a couple of times. He's from Canada, big time Ram fan. And then Paul's an East Coast guy. So it's kind of neat. There are Ram fans spread out across the country and across the world. And if I can get some of those guys on, I think it's really interesting, really intriguing to hear international perspectives. Even it's kind of neat. Just a nice change. It's been good having you.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I've been a very good, great fan of your podcast, and I'm really pleased for the invitation and to collaborate here with you.
Yeah, and maybe we'll touch base when you find out what game you're going to. Let me know. Maybe we can do something before the game, after the game. Maybe I'll be in the area. And Ian Martinez, he goes to a lot of the home games. I'll maybe get you guys linked up. You can have lunch or something. He's a really good guy. Yeah,
or
good stuff.
Maybe even grab a beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so definitely reach out to us. When you get your tickets in hand, reach out to me, let me know, and we'll start trying to fiddle around with my schedule and see if we can do something.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ernesto. Ernesto from Puebla, Mexico, joining us. A new series here. Hopefully, Ram fans from all over the place. Thanks a lot, Ernesto.
Thank you, Mark.